Welcome, everybody. Today we have Dorna, CEO and founder at Gavel. And Gavel has been working, document automation platform. You may have heard about it. Has been working on something very exciting called Gavel Exec, which is an AI drafting solution paired with their workflow builder, with their form software. And so today we'll be chatting about what it is exactly, who will get the most benefit out of it. Dorna, welcome to the channel.
Thank you so much, Martin. It's been wonderful to have been working with you for so long, having you work with so many of our customers, and I'm excited to chat about our new product, Gavel Exec, which really dovetails, as you said, from Gavel Workflows.
Fantastic. So explain a bit more what Gavel is for the people that are not familiar, and then we can go into what Gavel Exec is.
Yes, absolutely. So Gavel is your automation suite, the lawyer's automation suite. And historically, what our main product has been is what we're now calling Gavel Workflows. So it's our rules-based automation platform. No matter how complex your document sets are, you can build rule sets inside of Gavel Workflows to help you generate those more rapidly. And that includes doing the intake from the client and then generating those very complex documents based on if this then that type rules. Now, we recently launched Gavel Exec, which is our AI assistant directly inside of Microsoft Word. And Gavel Exec is our generative AI tool. And so what it does is it does everything from analyzing your contracts, redlining documents, helping you build projects and playbooks, which I'll dive into specifically in a minute, and really taking you to the next level on things that are not really rules based, on things where you really would benefit from generative AI. So as a company, we really want to make sure that lawyers are using rules-based automation and generative AI in the right places because each of them has their own strengths and weaknesses, and it's easy to over apply one to the other. And particularly right now, I think a lot of over application has been happening from the AI side to everything, but really there's a place where each of those excel.
So help me understand what practice areas would benefit more out of this and what use cases.
Yeah. So with our core product, Gavel Workflows, it covers any area that is rules based, where if you have templates that you're building, those are really helpful. So, anything corporate, transactional, real estate, family law, estate planning, probate. Within Gavel Exec, which is our Word add-in it's our AI assistant inside of Word, the primary areas we're seeing usage and adoption there are transactional areas, particularly corporate and real estate. However, we've also seen some adoption within the estate planning attorneys because there is some level of needing to just understand what's going on in your documents and make changes to specific sections that it translates well to that generative AI tool.
All right, love it. Well, let's see it in action. Let's see a demo.
Perfect. Let's do it. So I think the primary thing as I'm sharing my screen, the primary thing I want to note is that we, there we go. Here I have a sample agreement that I'm going to use this on. And then I have Gavel Exec as the word add-in right here, which is your AI assistant. And you can use Gavel Exec on very complex documents. So if you have share purchase agreements, you have real estate, the commercial lease agreements that are very lengthy, it will definitely work on those as well. But the thing that I want to show you on today is a more simple document just for the sake of a demo. So inside of Gavel Exec, you have a few different tabs here. One is your chat, playbooks, and projects. I'll start with chat. Chat is very open-ended, so you can ask it to really do anything that you want. You could go ahead and ask it to redline this agreement in favor of the employer. And the more detail that you give it, the better your results are going to be inside of Gavel Exec. But I'll give it something that's very basic like this. And it's going to give me a set of red lines that I can then apply or reject. Inside of chat, so as you can see, it's given me a bunch of suggestions. And what I can do now is I'll just go ahead and look through these. I'll click into that section. I'll decide whether or not that's something that I want to include. And I can click accept, and it's going to go ahead and insert those changes inside of my document. The second thing that you can do inside of Gavel Exec, inside of the add-in, is that you can have it revise sections of your document. So as an example, I might say, I have this section right here. I want you to, so one of the things here that you should take note of is that we have the scope of the document selected here. So I might have the scope be the entire document, or I might have my scope be just a particular portion of that document. So I can select that portion of the text, and I can say, revise this clause to include media rights and any other specifications I'd want for a media company. So I'll give it something basic like that. And what it's going to do is it's going to revise that, give me some revisions to that section, and I can see those directly inside of Redline before I decide whether or not I want to include those. And this is really the type of thing where you can collaborate with it and connect with it. So you can say, I don't like this change. I want you to make the change differently, and it's going to learn from you. So we never train on your data for anyone else, but you do get the benefit of us training for you. So the more that you use this, the better it's going to get for your results. So that is a portion of the chat. The next thing I want to show you, so we've covered redlining, we've covered revising a certain section. The next thing I want to show you is asking it questions about your document. So I might ask, what are the top 3 risks in this document for my client, the employer? Explain this in a client-friendly email. So that's another thing I could do is I can ask it for information about risks and benefits. I can have it review that document, and especially with lengthy documents, that becomes even more helpful. And I can have it craft language that I can use for my clients as well. So that is the chat. Next thing, and please interrupt me if there's anything that you're curious about or that you want to see more of.
What about hallucinations, right? It's a big concern that a lot of people have. So does it ground its answers in specific, state specific law? How you combat hallucinations?
Yes. So few things there. So one is we are built for areas of law where it is more contract drafting and less dependent on case law. So we're not really a litigation tool right now. We are targeting corporate and transactional areas of law. So for those areas, we've actually hired 2 different law firms who have helped us train the system, not only with documents, but also just with general information on how exactly the language that's put into your documents is structured. So those are the main ways that we control against that. But the last thing is that when you're making changes inside of your document, these are all things that you're reviewing directly yourself. So the changes are really intended to help you with benchmarking to market, and then making sure that language is drafted in the way that you want. So we don't have the same, I think, because of the level of control that corporate attorneys, transactional attorneys typically have over their work. We don't have the same level of concern with hallucinations, and particularly because we're not working directly with case law.
Right.
But you can also ask it to give you information.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, please.
One thing I was going to say is, particularly with the question about hallucinations, maybe that actually takes me to the next feature, which is projects, because this is a really helpful place for us to start from to talk about hallucinations. So you can actually train. One of the wonderful things about Gavel Exec is it gives small law firms the opportunity to train their own AI models, essentially, with very, very limited effort. So what you can do is you can actually create new projects and then load files and load instructions to those projects. And so then what we're dealing with is not just a system that is taking whatever information we have as Gavel and injecting it into your document to make decisions for you, but you're really working with something that's working with your own files. So what we've seen lawyers doing is creating new projects for either specific matter types, specific clients, or just general document types, loading documents and files to those projects, loading instructions to those projects, and then asking it in the context of this project to make changes to my document. And in that case, you can actually have it cite to the sources. So you can say, okay, whatever change you make, like why did you decide to make this change, and cite back to a specific document. So if I had, I'll give you an example of this. We have, we had a law firm we were talking to who represents uh, startups in the context of fundraising against investors. So they oftentimes are interfacing against the same exact investor over and over again. So what they have done is they've loaded every agreement that they've ever signed and inked with that investor into their project files. And then they now ask the chat, they say, redline this document based on the most favorable provisions that you've seen in these project files. Now the suggestions are coming directly from your own project files, and you can ask it, in which deal did they accept these terms? So that's where you really get down to firms who maybe don't have a huge IT department to train large models, have the power of that directly inside of Microsoft Word with their own documents and really at the snap of their fingers. So that's where I think the hallucination question becomes mitigated at least a bit.
Okay, love it. What about playbooks?
Playbook. So next is Playbooks. So Playbooks, we have Gavel created playbooks, and then we also have the ability to create your own playbooks. Creating your own playbooks is very easy. You create a new playbook, you add new rules to each of these playbooks, but I'll actually show you one of the Gavel playbooks since they're already fully built out. These are playbooks that we've built for specific areas of law. We've consulted with attorneys in these areas in order to create these playbooks. And I'll pull up the independent contractor one since that's the type of document I'm on right now. And what you can do with these playbooks is you can run the playbook and it will tell you whether or not the rules that you have dictated in this playbook are met or are not met. So as an example, I have this, let's go down to one that's a little more complicated. I have this rule on taxes and 1099 status. And I say, clarify tax responsibilities, and I've given it a ton of instructions on exactly what I want it to do. And these can be as robust as you'd like. You can also include fallback language. And what I can do is I can run this rule, or I can run the entire playbook altogether. And what it's telling me is, okay, this rule has actually not been met. Why did it fail? Because it doesn't explicitly state that the consultant is responsible for their own taxes. And then what is the proposed change? It's actually suggesting that I include an entire section inside of my document that relates to taxes and 1099 status that's not already inside of my document. So that's what's really powerful about playbooks is you can run your entire playbook and it'll tell you out of all the rules that you've created for this rule set, which ones are met, which ones are not met, and how do you change your document in order to meet that rule.
Right. And so when would you use projects versus playbooks?
So playbooks are meant for really formulaic, almost like checklist like situations where you need to know, did this pass or did it fail? Like I have a specific document type. I have a set of 50 different things that I'm looking for every single time. And I just need to know if those are met or not met. Projects are a little bit more of like true, it's thinking a little bit more for you on out of and more out of the box based on the documents that you've given it. So projects don't really require any setup beyond loading the documents that you need to that project. And once you do that, you can ask it any question. So it doesn't necessarily need to be, did my rules met? It's typically more around, give me more of narrative. Give me some red lines that you would suggest based on a specific fact scenario. So you can be a little bit more amorphous, and it's more like dealing with an associate a more senior level associate who's reviewed all the files, whereas playbooks are more of a junior level associate who's just checking, is this rule met or is it not met? Just issue spotting for you.
Right. Fair enough. Are there any other features of Gavel Exec that you could show?
Those are the main features right now. We have a lot in store for people. I think even we're making changes on a weekly and sometimes daily basis to add new features. But one of the features that we're launching very soon, probably in the next week, is team features. And team features will allow our customers to add all of their teammates and actually collaborate on those projects to really build a central source of data and a central AI system for your law firm directly inside of Microsoft.
And what I understand is that you can use Gavel Exec separately from the Gavel workflows, right? But
Yes.
also in conjunction.
Yes, exactly. You can use the two separately or in conjunction with each other. Typically, how we see people using them together is using workflows, Gavel workflows to generate your document. And then everything that happens after that, so negotiation, redlining, something that comes from opposing counsel, that happens with Gavel Exec.
Right. So a lot of firms are now starting to use, some of these models, tools directly, such as ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. So how would you say what sets Gavel Exec apart rather than just using one of those tools and let's say Canvas feature in Gemini?
Yeah, so great question. One of the things that we've done is, well, one, we are specifically for the legal domain. So we have everything we've built and directly being inside of Microsoft Word is for the legal domain. Um, two is we are not just like a ChatGPT wrapper where we're calling one of these OpenAI models or one of these Gemini models and giving you information about what, like basically passing the data back and forth between Word and one of those models. We are an agent-based system. So that what that means is that we have multiple different agents inside of Gavel Exec deciding what to do based on the task that you've given it. So we've actually optimized for what models we use, whether it's some of those external models or some of our own proprietary models for the specific task at hand. In addition to that, a lot of AI systems, what they do is they go sort of line by line through your document and they give you suggestions line by line. What our system does is it actually reviews almost like an associate who you're giving the case file to. It reviews the entire document, all the context of the prior chats you've had with it, all the context of any documents that you have, and then it makes holistic suggestions as to how those things correlate with each other. So it's really a powerful tool for the lawyer's toolkit specifically.
Right. And what I'm really seeing is for example in the chat interface, a great value add there is that it does break down those changes kind of one by one. You can accept, reject, right? If, for example, you're using the Canvas feature, Gemini or ChatGPT, you can achieve something similar, but it will just, implement all those changes directly, right? You don't have the granular control over each edition, right?
Exactly. And also, I mean, I guess those tools don't directly interplay with Microsoft Word, which is very powerful.
Yeah.
You have to like copy and all those changes, which is actually one very powerful tool set for the lawyer where your UI really is Microsoft Word for many of
Yeah.
the lawyers.
I've just been talking with one of our clients. Like, ironically, you have this amazing model it just drafted the whole document for you, and you just sit there for 15 minutes, copying and pasting it to format
Exactly.
it properly. And not exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, so, I don't wanna underplay the fact that it's in Microsoft Word and understands how the tools inside of Microsoft Word work is also one piece of the power.
Right. And so how does it stack up against some of the other AI, legal specific drafting solutions in the market?
Yeah, again, this is one of those areas where I can tell you, and I really this is the reason why we have a free trial, no demo required, no credit card required, because we truly have seen that when you compare the same document in two different systems, including many of the very popular ones, I won't name any specific names, but like many of the very popular ones in the legal field, the results you get with Gavel Exec are dramatically better than the results you're going to get with some of these other systems. Many of us are lawyers on our team. We have deep connections with lawyers in the way that we build product. And so just the response that you're going to get is going to be one that you actually want to accept inside of Gavel Exec. So I can tell you that, and it's easy for me to show you on my document, but that's exactly why we constantly say at Gavel, the proof is in the pudding. Like, just go try it. It'll take you 5 minutes to load the word add in and start typing in a chat, and you'll see for yourself, is this actually better than anything that you've experienced in the past? And we're pretty confident it will be in terms of the results that you're going to get. And you have like 15 runs that you can run and try that out for yourself. But it really comes down to the results.
Yeah. So just try it out for yourself, essentially, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And in terms of pricing and then the ROI that a firm can expect from this, what are we talking about there?
Yes. So pricing is pretty simple and pretty affordable. We really want to make it affordable for small firms. It's 160 a month per user, and we give discounts on annual plans, obviously. And then in terms of ROI, we have seen people save hours each day. Obviously depends on what your volume is, but many of the lawyers who have given us feedback, particularly when you're looking at our projects feature, I think our projects feature is something that mm, I don't think there's any other word. I don't want to speak out of line, but there's not many other. None that I know of that has a projects feature inside of Word, and so that is what's really going to get you those accurate results, and getting you to ROI faster happens because of the quality of the responses that we give back to you.
Right, right. And I mean, to wrap things up, what's next for Gavel Exec specifically, and Gavel altogether? What are you working on?
Yes, definitely. So we're definitely working on both integrating Gavel workflows and Gavel Exec closer together, because there is so much interplay between the data that gets exchanged to make sure that you're getting the best, even better results than you can, given the work product that we know you're already drafting. So giving you the option to do that for people who are on both workflows and Gavel workflows and Gavel Exec, and then integrating with other file management systems, because that's another place that we've seen people wanting to really customize their AI to their own style. You can load those documents inside of projects, obviously, but we also want to integrate directly with other tools that can give you that capability.
Fantastic. Well, cool, very exciting times. I've been playing a lot with different AI models right now, and it's getting crazy and crazy every day. I love the fact that it just integrates directly into Word. I think that's a big pain point. Sometimes just to format it, right? And and those additional features, it's not just a chat interface, right? You have those projects, and you do have those playbooks, um, to really accommodate different types of workflows.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Lovely, lovely. Well, thank you so much for the demo, Dorna. What should people do if they want to try this out?
Yes, you could go to gavel.io/exec, and it'll take you, you can see some more information about exactly how it's used. You'll see some more use cases, and then you can go directly from that page. It'll take you to the Microsoft App Source page, where you can load the Word add-in directly inside of Microsoft Word. And if anyone has any questions or comments, I'm here. We are constantly adding new features to Gavel Exec. We're really excited about the future of Gavel and Gavel Exec as well. So please reach out to me at dorna@gavel.io if you have any feedback or comments or questions, and I'd be happy to chat with you directly.
And I can attest to the fact that your support team and yourself are very, very responsive, which is always great to have, if you're running into any issues. So yeah, people should definitely try it out.
Something we definitely care a lot about and have since the early days of Gavel is making sure that our customers' needs are met and that we can actually help you get onboarded as much as you need.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you so much for having me.